Herpes simplex, herpes viruses. So in herpes viruses are the double-stranded DNA viruses. Double-stranded DNA viruses, they all are linear genome, and all are enveloped, and all herpes 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, they all uh, gain their enveloped by nuclear membrane. This is the exception from the rest of the DNA viruses, a nuclear membrane blobbing. So the first one is the first herpes simplex virus is the route of transmission is respiratory secretions and saliva. It goes into the respiratory tract, and from the respiratory tract it take olfactory route and cause temporal encephalitis, which is very much important. Temporal lobe encephalitis. So the presentation is aphasia, and personality changes and sears and rest of the encephalitis features are very much common. So taking the route from CN1 is very much important to gain access to the temporal lobe, and in the temporal lobe there is necrosis and hemorrhagic encephalitis, which leads to CSF with RBCs. RBCs in the CSFs. Then we have punched out ulcers leading to esophagitis. So the second most important disease is esophagitis, and it is the punched out lesion on the esophagitis, and also it is most commonly a latent in trigeminal or CN5 ganglia. So regarding CN5 ganglia, then we have painful, can cause painful vesicular or ulcerative rashes, painful vesicular or ulcerative crop of rashes, and also painful in children. It can cause painful child gingivostomatitis. In the eyes can cause keratoconjunctivitis, and in the finger it can cause herpes whitlow, and on the labii painful lesion on the lips or herpes labii. So for temporal lobe, it is the most common sporadic and fatal cause of encephalitis in the temporal lobe region. So this is a herpes simplex type 1 virus. The agent which act on which is used in the treatment of herpes simplex is acyclovir. Then we have the type 2 herpes simplex virus, and this type take a route of sexual and also sexual contact and perinatal contact. Perinatal contact. In sexual contact, it can cause herpes, painful herpes genitalitis, and in the perinatal can cause neonatal meningitis, and it is latent in the sacral ganglia. Sacral ganglia, painful. So this is pretty much about herpes simplex type 2. Then we have herpes simplex type 3. The third one is varicella zoster virus. In varicella zoster virus, we have chicken pox like condition, and shingles. So varicella zoster virus, it takes the respiratory secretion whenever a person is contact with respiratory secretion, or with the contact with the fluid vesicles. It can cause varicella zoster virus. In the children, it is very much mild and causes chickenpox. And but in the adult or immunocompromised, it is very much severe. In immunocompromised and in adults, very much severe and cause shingles. So the complication also, it also leads to encephalitis and pneumonia. And it is also varicella zoster virus has a complication very much common is post. It is the complication. So the complication is post-herpetic neuralgia. And the treatment of post-herpetic neuralgia is you treat with the topical capsaicin capsaicin cream, which defunctionalized which defunctionize afferent fibers, and decrease or deplete levels of substance P. And after depleting, it can leads to decrease pain transmission. So there is an initial burning or stinging sensation whenever we apply transmission whenever we apply this on the respective area for post-herpetic neuralgia. And also whenever the CN5 branch 1 is affected for the shingles, it can cause varicella zoster of the ophthalmic area or ophthalmicus, which can lead to blindness. So the agent used for herpes simplex 1, 2 and varicella is acyclovir, pancyclovir. These are very much, they can easily phosphorylate into the host cell. No need for external. So in this part we can discuss herpes part 6, 7 and part 8 together. So herpes simplex virus, it is also called human herpes virus 6, 7 and human herpes virus 8. And human herpes virus, it take the respiratory route, and this is the respiratory or the saliva route, and saliva. And this route herpes 8, it takes the sexual contact route. So herpes 6, 7 can cause roseola infantum, and it is actually first high grade fever. Then after high grade fever, it can cause sears, febrile sears, and then followed by 1 2 day after there is a diffuse macular rashes, and which are also known as xanthum vitam. So the herpes simplex type 6 and 7 can cause roseola infantum virus, although it's a less common cause of roseola. Then the herpes simplex type 8, it takes actual root and causes the Kaposi sarcoma, one of the cause of Kaposi sarcoma, which is also neoplasia of the endothelial cell. So it is endothelial, so it has some homobodies and spindle cells and keratinic pearls and spindle cells. So this is the dark violaceous papules, plaques and nodules. And it is very much common in HIV and immunosuppressant or immunocompromised patients. It representing the vascular proliferation. So we have discussed the 4 types of herpes viruses. Now the two most important types are herpes simplex type 4, which is also type 4, also known as Epstein-Barr virus, and herpes simplex type 5, which is also known as cytomegalovirus. So herpes simplex type 4, it is a kissing disease. It can cause kissing disease, and kissing by kissing, it is spread via saliva, via respiratory secretions. It can cause mononucleosis is just fever, hepatosplenomegaly, so spleen is enlarged, liver is enlarged, so no contact sport, because there is a risk of splenic rupture. And it is 50% associated, it is associated with lymphomas, uh, but 50% with the Burkitt, and almost always or 100% associated with CNS lymphomas. If the patient is have the Asian origin, then it can cause nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Then we have in the transplant patient, it can cause lymphoproliferative disease. And Epstein-Barr virus, it attacked B cells with CD21, and it has the atypical leukocyte lymphocytes, not increase in the B cell, but only increase in the T cell. And it can also cause posterior cervical lymphadenopathy. And we have a test for this mono spot test, which is a heterophile antibodies detected by the agglutination of sheep and horse RBCs. Whenever the mononucleosis, and we incidentally use amoxicillin, then it can cause maculopapular rashes. So never use amoxicillin in during mononucleosis. So kissing disease in young teens is, it's very much common, and it is always latent. It can be reactivated, can cause a different disease when the patient is immunosuppressant. So now we have cytomegalovirus, very much common, very much tested, very much important. So these two are very much common. So cytomegalovirus mode of transmission is congenital. It can it can cause torch infection. In the torch infection, we have the C for cytomegalovirus. So the congenital cause. Then we have the transfusion related mode of transmission. We have the sexual contact, which can cause cytomegalovirus. Then we have the saliva route, urine route, and also we have the transplant route. So these are all the main routes of cytomegalovirus. It has the owl eye appearance, which are the intranuclear cytoplasmic inclusions, and also it is latent in mononuclear cells. It uses the integrin, which are actually the heparan sulfate of the endothelial cells, vascular endothelial cell. It bind to that receptor and goes and it causes the endothelial cell to be infected. Then it can cause a lot of disease. The first one, it can cause first discuss the if the patient is immunocompetent, then it can cause mononucleosis but negative monospot test. So this is important clue. Owl eye is important clue to differentiate EBV from CMV. So negative mononucleosis in immunocompetent patient. Then if the patient is immunocompromised, like transplant patient, immunosuppressed patient, yeah, AIDS patient, then it can cause infection, especially the pneumonia infection. So cytomegalovirus cause pneumonia infection. Then it can cause uh, esophagitis, but this esophagitis is a linear ulceration esophagitis, and also having the owl eye inclusions. Then we have the AIDS related retinitis, also colitis can cause colitis, and hepatitis. So the lower one are very much low yield, but the esophagitis, retinitis, colitis, and negative monospot is very much important to diagnose cytomegalovirus. So in retinitis we have the cotton wool spot, hemorrhages, and all those important clues on ophthalmoscopy. So for cytomegalo and Epstein-Barr virus, we can use a phosphornet medication, which we will discuss later on in the antiviral lecture. So this is all about herpes family and herpes simplex diseases. They are pretty much very high yield, very much tested on boards. So next we will discuss the rest of the double-stranded DNA viruses.